So Beyonce's new album, Cowboy Carter, has been out for about a month now, so I guess it's really not that new. The reason why it took me so long to do a review is because I really wanted to sit with the album and listen to it many times to develop my thoughts and feelings on it instead of just rushing out and putting out a review that same weekend that it came out. In regards to my thoughts and feelings on the album, I think this is honestly Beyonce's best album. It's not my favorite, mind you. I was still, for me, I would put Lemonade and Four Above in terms of favorites. But this is definitely Beyonce's best album in the sense of my complaints with it are very minor. I have a lot of love for this album. I think what Beyonce did was just overall really incredible. To start the review off, I'm going to go over what I have for complaints, and then I'll focus on what I love more because I think it's better just to get my little complaints that I have out of the way first, and then we can just spend the rest of the podcast as a love session towards Cowboy Carter. My complaints is the length. That's one of my first complaints is the length. I love long albums, but for me, for them to work, all the tracks have to feel like they belong. They can't feel out of place, and they can't feel like filler. Like there can't be any weak songs or not too many weak songs. And there are several weak songs in here that I think that could have been removed because they just feel like filler. I think Just for Fun, Two Most Wanted. Yes, I know that's the most recent single, but I still don't think it's that great of a song. I think those two could have been removed. I also think Bodyguard could be removed, and I like Bodyguard, but it is one of the weaker songs, and it kind of feels like filler. I also think, and I definitely think Levi's Jeans could be removed. That's a weak song, and it's filler. Um, if those songs had been on the album, I think it could have flowed a lot better. My other complaint is Beyonce says she created this album because, well, she didn't come right out and say this, but she says she had a negative experience at the Country Music Awards when she performed Daddy Lessons with the Dixie Chicks. She didn't feel welcome there, and she wanted to create this album to show that black people do have a place in country music. Black people did create country music, and I agree with her idea, and I love the idea and the concept that she came up with that, and also the way how she wanted to play with genre. I just don't agree with the way that Beyonce chose to explore how important black country music are to country music. And the reason I feel that is because of how she treated black country music artists on this album. I mean, I know she worked with several of them, but it feels like she could have put them front and center more than she did. Like for example, she covered a song by Dolly Parton, who I like, no shade to Dolly, but she's a white country music artist, and Beyonce covered her Jolene for this album. Why couldn't Beyonce have covered a song by a black music country artist? I mean, for example, Linda Martell, she does a couple of spoken interludes on this album. And, she's a black country music artist. Why couldn't Beyonce have covered one of her songs instead to give Linda some shine? Or maybe she could have written a song with Linda. I know Linda's still alive. I know she's still making music. But maybe she could have covered a song with Linda, wrote a song with Linda about their experience in the music industry. I think that could have been great. Same thing with her duets on this album. Beyonce duetted with a lot of, well, not with a lot of people, but she duetted with mostly white artists. I know she did Just for Fun with Willie Jones, who's a black country music artist, but she did Two Most Wanted with Miley Cyrus, and she did Levi's Jeans with Post Malone. Why couldn't she have put black country music artists on those instead? Like, for example, on Blackbird, she does that with several black female country music artists. Why couldn't one of them have done Two Most Wanted with her instead of Miley Cyrus so they could get highlight more or some shine? Or why couldn't she have covered one of their songs instead of Blackbird, or written a song with them if they write, instead of doing Blackbird by the Beatles? Those are just my thoughts on that part, though. You might feel differently. You might think that Beyonce overall did a really good job of highlighting black country music artists. But I just think if that was the main idea, one of the main ideas of her doing this album, I think she could have gone further in that regard. But yeah, those are my only really major complaints. Otherwise, like I said, I love this album. I think she did a really good job with it. To start with, I'm really impressed by her vocal performance. Um, Beyonce, I've always thought Beyonce's voice of an impressive vocalist as opposed to an expressive vocalist. Meaning, I think she has impressive vocals in the sense that she can do impressive belts and runs and riffs, and she can do these crazy high notes and all that good stuff. But I've never really felt moved by her voice or any of her singing. Not Listen, which is supposed to be this big, inspirational song, not anything off Lemonade, which is supposed to be Beyonce's most vulnerable, emotional album because she's singing about Jay-Z's infidelity. I never once felt moved by her listening to any of those songs, even when she did them live. But with Cowboy Carter, I feel the emotion coming out of her. Like I really feel it. Like back during my Super Bowl podcast when she released Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages at the time, I said when I heard 16 Carriages, that was one of Beyonce's most moving and beautiful vocal performances. The first time I felt moved by Beyonce's voice. I still hold that opinion in regards to 16 Carriages, but there are other songs on the album that make me feel that way as well. You got American Requiem. You got Amen. You got Protector. You got Blackbird, which that's her vocals aren't really like crazy impressive. Like she's not really going insane on the vocals like she does, but her voice is still incredibly moving. So I was really impressed by that one because she didn't have to do any of her vocal acrobatics to give a moving vocal performance. Riverdance, that might not seem like a song that would be moving vocally because it's an up-tempo dance song. It's a sexual song, but I felt very emotional listening to that song due to her vocal performance. It's just wonderful. Protector, Flamenco, Daughter, those all have wonderful, moving, emotional vocal performances in my opinion as well. Um, and then I mentioned earlier about Beyonce being more of an impressive vocalist, and she is, especially live. Her vocal performances live are out of this world. I don't know why she's not taken more seriously as a singer, because a lot of people just see her as a performer. But to me, she's up there with the greats in terms of vocals. But now I think one of the reasons why she might not be seen as a great vocalist is because when you listen to her albums, her vocal performances aren't that impressive. She even said around the time before that she waters down her vocals on her albums, and that before she's going to show out vocally on her album the way she usually does live. But even with four, I didn't really feel like she was going full out vocally. Like for example, if you compare the album versions of One Plus One and I Care to the way she does those songs live, like if you listen to the Coachella version of I Care live or the version of One Plus One from the Formation tour, those are on a whole nother level vocally compared to what she does on the album. With Cowboy Carter, this is the first album where I feel like Beyonce shows out vocally the way she does live. Like it's Yaya is probably the best example. Like I couldn't believe how amazing her vocals were on Yaya. She just went balls to the wall crazy with her vocals on Yaya. I mean, I can't say enough about that. That's my favorite track off the album, largely because of her impressive vocal performance. 16 Carriages was also incredibly impressive vocals. She really did a good job on that one. Um, just like American Requiem, Amen. There's just so many great vocal performances on this album. I can't even tell you. Jolene, that's another impressive vocal performance. Um, and speaking of Jolene, like I forgot to mention this during like my complaints part of this review, but Jolene, like I love the song like sonically and vocally, but one of the complaints I had about that song though is the lyrics. I don't mind that Beyonce changed the lyrics to Jolene. I really don't care about that. What I care about is the message she was delivering on that track. Usually with Beyonce, and this is one of the things I always love about Beyonce, when she does songs about a cheating no good man, she usually doesn't blame the other woman. She puts all her fire and fury, she points out all towards her man because her man is the one who owes her something, not the other woman. Jolene is the first time, at least that I can recall, where Beyonce is attacking the other woman, and I didn't like that. Like one of the lyrics in Beyonce's version of Jolene is that Jolene's trying to come between a happy home. But the thing is, like the saying goes, you can't break up a happy home. If Beyonce's man wants to go to Jolene, if he wants to fuck with Jolene, that's her man's decision, unless Jolene is forcing him somehow. She can't blame Jolene for that. If she feels like Jolene's trying to break up her happy home, it's because her man is giving her reason to. Like she says on her last album on the song Alien Superstar, if that's your man, then why he over here? Exactly. if if her man was if Beyonce's man is truly happy with her and their family life, Jolene wouldn't be a threat. She wouldn't have to worry about Jolene because her man would send Jolene packing on his own. Anyway, that's just my opinion on that. But anyway, back to the good stuff about what I love about Cowboy Carter. Another thing I love is how this album kind of like genre bends, and the way Beyonce does this, this kind of reminds me of I Am Sasha Fierce, her I Am Sasha Fierce album. On I Am Sasha Fierce, Beyonce had one disc where it was called I Am, where it's more like the kind of popular songs, more like Irreplaceable, because she wanted to keep those fans and grow that side of her fan base even more. And then she did the Sasha Fierce side, which is her was more for her R&B hip hop oriented fans, where she did her traditional R&B more hip hop like songs. Although funnily enough, the biggest song off the I Am Sasha Fierce album didn't end up being anything on the pop side. It ended up being Single Ladies, which was on the R&B hip hop side, Sasha Fierce. But that's probably more due to the video. But anyway, back to the point. This album kind of reminds me of that album, the way it's split up. The first half of Cowboy Carter is more like your traditional country music type of stuff, like what you would expect from a traditional country album. You got the lead single Texas Hold'em, you got Blackbird, Protector. Those are the type of songs you would expect from like a typical country album if done by, say, Shania Twain or Faith Hill. But in the second half of the album, starting with like the Linda Martell interludes, you've got Beyonce fusing country music with other genres. And Beyonce even has Linda Martell say, genres are a funny thing to let us know that she's about to do some serious genre bending. And then when you get to the second half, you got country mixed with like R&B dance, like on River Dance. You got country mixed with trap, like on Sweet Honey Buckin'. You got country kind of fused with rock and roll and funk, like on Ya Ya, and so on and so forth. And I kind of love that she does that. It's showing that it's more than just one way to do country music, and that how genre, you shouldn't be limited by genre. You should be able to do whatever you want to if you're a serious artist, as long as you have the talent and skill. And Beyonce definitely has the talent and skill. And I just love the way she mixed all of that up on the second half to kind of contrast it with the first half, saying, yeah, I can do the traditional country music stuff that you guys or say it's country. Like I can do that. I can fuck with you guys. I can hang with you guys in that arena. You guys are, you artists who slam me and reject me at the country music awards. You're not the only one who can do traditional country music. I can do that, but I can also do this other thing over here, like she does on Sweet Honey Buckin' and Ya Ya. She's saying like I can do that other stuff over there too that you guys can't do. I'm a great artist regardless of what type of sound I'm doing, and I just love that myself. Um, I also want to touch on the tour because I know a lot of people are concerned about Beyonce doing a tour, or they want to know if she's going to be doing a tour or not. I don't think she should do one this year. Beyonce is well into her 40s now. She's got kids, a family. She just did a big tour last year with the Renaissance World Tour. I think she should take a break this year and then come back and tour next year. And what she should do is to kind of contrast the two eras. Like instead of doing like a big pop show with high production values and army of dancers and crazy props and stuff like that, like she did for the Renaissance World Tour, I think she should contrast that and script things down more and do like a more small, understated tour, like like she did for her I Am residency during the I Am Sasha Fierce tour. She did a residency at Win. I think she should do something like that where she scripts down to just doing like put the focus more on her voice and the music like she did during that I Am residency. Because like I said earlier, Beyonce is an amazing singer, and she doesn't get enough credit for that in my opinion. I think that would be a nice way for her to get her flowers in that way by scripting down and going back to basics and just doing the well, not necessarily a bare bones tour, but more a stripped down tour where she's doing just the music with live instrumentation, her band, her backup singers, little to no backup dancers, and just have the focus be on her voice and the music. Do the whole Cowboy Carter along with her greatest hits. Maybe have them reworked to be more acoustic or maybe in a country fashion to maybe fit with the sound that she went for Cowboy Carter. And I think that would be a good way to go for her latest tour. But anywho, these have just been my thoughts and feelings on the matter. My name is Kahoko. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe. Thank you and take care.